Testing, testing. Is this thing on? Good. I'm just joking. Anyways, greetings and salutations, and this is Kekronot here, back with more. I already failed while we're doing this video, but back with more Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Today we are doing these trials, which I didn't know that you had to wait for it to first load. Thought you could just boost through immediately. That was my mistake. And I did it again. God damn it. Come on. This is my fault, by the way. The game isn't at fault for this. This is mine. After the first time, I should have definitely known not to, like, boost through that like I just did. But, you know, it's whatever. It's whatever. I did it again. Why? Why do I keep making that mistake? Now I gotta start all over.
So, follow the path as fast as you can.
Pass me, what are you doing? Okay, we got through one.
The next shrine is just ahead.
1 out of 4, let's go. Second one, let's go. Get it. And we're almost there, almost there. Almost there. Got it. Only 2 more to go. 2 more to go and we got this. I actually like this part of the game. As much as past speed messed up, I actually like doing this part. It's fun. It's a fun little challenge. Like, I like it. You know? So, yeah.
Let's keep going.
Don't really got much else to say about that. Let's hit the button. And let's go, dude. Whoa, dude. I think I've said that "whoa, dude" thing 3 times throughout this Let's Play. I need to stop it. It's sort of a reference to the one funny line from the 2016 Ratchet and Clank game. A game where every other joke outside of that is a miss. Like a big fucking miss. Now let's go. We're on the final one. Let's go. I actually don't understand why they like added like the wall run and stuff into the 3rd one, but the 4th one is literally just dodging shit. Going onto a rail. Swing shotting. I guess the final one is more than that. Okay. I don't know, the final one feels a little easier than the 3rd one. I don't know why it feels that way to me. There is more for you to do, but it just feels that way, you know? I can't really explain why. And yeah, I overshot the thing and it still counted. That's actually good, because I know some games out there, if you would have missed that, the timer would have still been going. Like in a lesser game, in a game that's not that good, that would have happened if you didn't like fly straight through that ring. It wouldn't have counted and you would have still like had to repeat that section. Yeah, luckily this game don't do that. This game's like, that's bullshit. We're gonna do this the right way. You got through it, you got through it. You don't gotta do it again because you missed a tiny ass ring going at like 200 miles per hour. Like, no, that's bullshit. We ain't gonna do that to you. And it knows that. That's actually one thing I gotta have respect for this game for. It knows, like, to not do stuff like that. Because I don't know if it was the last video or the video before this, or not before this, before that I was talking about like games being difficult, like something that I call pseudo difficulty, which is when a game does stupid things to make it feel harder than it actually is. And games that would have made you go through that ring and wouldn't have counted you just going to the end of it, that is pseudo difficulty. That's pseudo difficulty, because that's not necessary for difficulty. It's just there to make it feel harder. And I played some games when I was younger that would actually do that. But luckily, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is better than that. It's better than that. Like, I literally cannot say one thing bad about this game. It just gives me more to praise it for. And I kind of wish they had like another one of those sections later on. I know it would have been like repetitive, a little bit repetitive, but like just one more section like that would have been nice. Not necessarily the exact same like thing, I mean, you do got something similar to it in the arena, but I'm talking about like, excuse me, you heard that? I'm talking about like a mandatory section. Not necessarily with the boots either, because in the arena they got a section like that you're riding one of those Speedle, I think they call them. I forget because we're not in a video where like you see the name of it, but yeah, the Speedle things, the little things you ride. There's an arena challenge where you basically do the same thing I just did, except you're not hitting buttons. You're going through rifts instead, and you're riding on a Speedle instead of using the hover boots. I would have loved if they had a section like that, but with the buttons later on, you know? But yeah, this is before I end up skipping the glitch sections. Later on, I start skipping these. But I think this is only the second time we're doing the glitch section. It's either the second or third. And I don't skip it for some reason. I skip them later on, but it's mainly because the game lets me skip them. If it was a mandatory section, I wouldn't have been too mad. I really wouldn't, because that's not pseudo difficulty. Making you do these sections wouldn't have been pseudo difficulty. That would have actually been real difficulty if they were mandatory. And I think the Clank sections should have been mandatory, because I skipped those later on too. I feel like those should have been mandatory because you're playing as Clank and on one occasion Kit. You know? And Clank gameplay is like the secondary gameplay of most Ratchet and Clank games. You know, it's the secondary gameplay. Actually, it's almost equal to the amount of time you play Ratchet in A Crack in Time, because you play for like Clank sections in those games are like a half hour, and then you'll play for Ratchet for like 40 minutes to an hour, then you'll go back to Clank for a half hour, so he gets like a lot more playtime in that game than the rest of the series. And I think Ripped Apart has the second amount of Clank gameplay time, if you actually went through with them instead of skipping them like I do later. Like, those sections are almost as much as you play him in A Crack in Time, but not as much when you really think about it, because of how much they show up. I think there's like 6 of them. The remake is probably the game where you play as Clank the least, if I remember correct. Because I think in Tools of Destruction you got like 4 or 5 Clank sections. You don't really play as him in Quest for Booty. In Full Frontal Assault and All for One, he's got the exact same gameplay as Ratchet. I'm trying to remember what other games are good examples. In Into the Nexus, and this mainly has to do with how short the game is, you only really play as Clank like 3 times. You have like an introductory thing to his like dimensional
but now we need your help to reach the
thing
archives.
gameplay.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you have like an introduction one, and you have one like an hour after that, and then you have one near the end of the game. And Into the Nexus is like 4 or 5 hours. It's not short like Quest for Booty, but it's short-ish.
We need help getting to the archives.
I don't really
It is
mind
urgent.
the length of Into the Nexus, honestly. I wouldn't have paid like $40 for it, but I don't mind the length of it. I actually played Into the Nexus and
Faster, Ratchet. You bet.
Quest for Booty via PlayStation Now before it got heated for PlayStation Plus Premium, and I'm kind of disappointed in what PlayStation Premium is, or what they've done, because it's not the price thing that disappoints me, because the price of it is probably cheaper than having both PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus at the same time. It's probably cheaper by a lot, because PlayStation Now, I think, was like $100 a year, like PlayStation Plus Premium is now. So in a sense, you get both like games that used to be on PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus for $60 less a year. You know, that's a good. Actually, is it 100 or am I thinking of the extra? I don't know. If it's 120, like I think it might be, that's still lower. So it's still a better deal than having to get PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus together. You know, still a better deal on the surface. Yeah, I looked into it because I do need to renew my PlayStation Plus, and I'm probably just gonna go with the basic one, the $60 a year one, like I've been doing for years, because there's really nothing that like interests me in premium, and the extra one doesn't really add anything I'm interested in, honestly. Yeah, you get access to a few games, but it's for a limited time, and you never know. You might get to a month where there are no not a month. You may get to a time where there are no games where you like listed there, and I'm pretty sure it's a limited time. I don't know if they are, but I'm pretty sure they are. And for me, I like to permanently own games, especially if I enjoy them. So like, the PlayStation Plus games you get each month, you basically permanently own them. All you have to do is like activate your PlayStation Plus to play them. But that's all you gotta do. And I have like 30 PlayStation Plus games, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 20. I don't know. I think it's 20 actually. I think it's 20. Because I am a bit picky on them. I don't download every game, but I download most of them to at least try them out. If I don't like them, I hide them on my list so I don't like think, oh, I should play this, and then get disappointed all over again, you know. I actually hide them so I can see the games I actually like. But yeah, for PlayStation Plus, I'm definitely gonna stick to the normal one until the premium classic games list gets a like much needed expansion, because the only games on there right now are ones I would not really pay an extra $40 to $60 for a year. I'm pretty sure it's 100. I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it is for premium, and I think the extra is like 80 or 90. I don't remember the prices. Don't at me for getting the prices wrong. I just know that the premium is cheaper than having both PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, which was the former thing you would have had to do for those classic games. But the premium thing makes me miss PlayStation Now, because at least for PlayStation Now, the game library was good. And it'd be different if they like gave you access to like stuff like other really good, like, I know there are a lot of fans of Jak and Daxter and Ape Escape, but I'm not personally someone who enjoys those games. I like Jak 2 to a point, but the game's way too hard for me to beat it. I may let's play it one day, but I don't think I ever will, because it's the checkpoint thing. It's not the difficulty, it's the checkpoint thing. And my discussion about like or my rant about pseudo difficulty, I think Jak 2 would have been a perfect game to break up, because it's not that hard if you only take into account the game's natural difficulty. What makes the game feel harder, not actually makes it harder, it just makes it inconvenient, is the checkpoints. The game doesn't, you can go up to a half hour without getting a checkpoint in areas where you're going to at least die twice. And that's bad game design. Now, I'm not saying you should put a checkpoint everywhere. In my personal opinion, I think Ratchet and Clank, at least Rift Apart and the future games, have the best checkpoint system. I think they do, personally speaking. For 3D platforming games, I think they have the best checkpoint system. And I actually will say something. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has a lot more platforming to it than the series has had for a while. Now that's not counting the remake, because count the remake, because the only section of the remake I actually remember platforming on are Iridia. I think that's the planet name. The planet where you like stay skid at Mars. That has a ton of platforming in it. And the training section in Metropolis. That's the only two times I remember platforming in the remake. And there's a good bit of platforming in A Crappy Time too, and I believe Tools of Destruction as well, Quest for Booty. But I'm talking about games after that, kind of like phased out platforming a little bit, to where they're barely there. And even before that, there's a little bit, because Deadlock has like no platforming whatsoever. All for One also has like no platforming. You have swing shot sections, and sections where you gotta like jump across like 2 or 3 platforms, but I wouldn't call that full-on platforming, because they're not full sections of platforming. They're just small, tidy sections. Like, a platforming section is something you gotta go through a little bit of platforming for. Whether it be, like, jumping across platforms using the swing shot, whatever. And this is talking about for Ratchet and Clank. And I feel like all 3 of the future games have at least a few sections like this. But Rift Apart is the Ratchet and Clank game with the most platforming out of the ones I've played. Honestly speaking, I think a close second would be Tools of Destruction, but it's definitely got the most, and I like it for that. Like, a level we're coming up on soon is one that I really, or not soon, but later in the game. A level we'll be at later in the game. It's the same level that I've been saying, like, feels like it's inspired by survival horror games, and it's why I love that level. But another reason I love that level is because most of the survival horror inspired feeling, half of the level, is basically platforming and fighting amoeboids. It's like a mix of that, and it's pretty fun. But I am going to shut up because important cutscene.
Lombaxes. They must have built this. My dad was the keeper of the Dimensionator. The original one, anyway. He gave everything to keep it out of the wrong hands. Sorry, Dad.
Do you miss them? The Lombaxes?
Kinda hard to miss someone you've never met. But, yeah, I guess I do.
I understand. Perhaps one day you will find them.
Let's figure out if we can even build the Dimensionator first. Can we?
Yes. But the forge needed to do so is located at Kadaro Station, the most secure outpost in the galaxy.
Well then, let's get moving, KT-74...
Ratchet? I think Kit is my favorite.
Kit it is.
No!
We gotta go!
We must protect the archives!
There's no time!
It has been fun, Ratchet.
Was amazing! Kit! It's just me!
I told you, I do not make a great partner.
Sure, that was intense, but it was kind of awesome.
You do not understand. You are not safe around me. I was built to be a weapon, to keep the Emperor's galaxy secure. One night on patrol, I spotted a rebel in the Imperial Zone. So I tried to stop them. That is what I was built to do. Hurt. I am here to keep everyone safe from me. And that is why I cannot come with you.
Well, at least this mission worked out, huh?
Yes. I suppose it did.
And if I remember correctly, our promise was that if this mission didn't go badly...
You want to stay a team? You are very strange, Ratchet.
I've been told that a time or two. Team?
Perhaps. Just this once. Yes. I will try.
That's actually one of the best. That's actually one of the best cutscenes of the game, and one of the most important, technically speaking, because it reveals a very important thing about Kit that, as you can imagine, does conflict with Rivet later on, but in more ways than what you would expect. Something I want to point out, and I actually didn't even think about it to the cutscene, and it's similar to the Ratchet's eyes being green thing, being something that I never noticed before. But I actually just now, paid attention to Ratchet's character model for this game, and something, I have a gripe, not with this game, I have a gripe with some of Ratchet's character models, in particular the ones for the first two Future games, and the ones used in All for One, Full Frontal Assault, and Into the Nexus. I'm not a big fan of any of those. I think they look fine. I don't think they're horrible, but they're okay. And the 2016 games one is kind of bland-ish. It just looks like, the base Ratchet model, but upscaled to current, the current, or not current at the time, graphics. That's literally what it looks like. But in this game,
do you really think it would work?
No. I actually feel bad for talking over this cutscene because I'm pretty sure this is an important one too. Oh, actually it's not. They're just having a little conversation before we get to Police Art Prime. This is my third favorite level in the game, next to the survival horror inspired one I mentioned, and I'm actually going to admit this. I really love Sargasso. Sargasso and the survival horror inspired levels are my favorites in this game. They're my two favorites. I also like Xerxes, but that's not technically a level. The level part of that is basically the arenas, and the arenas for this game are fun, but some of the arena ideas I think other games have done better. I think it's Into the Nexus that has my favorite arena. I don't know if it's that, or if it's a Kraken Tide, because thinking back to it, All for One and Full Frontal Assault. I was about to say New Frontier. This is not The Walking Dead we're talking about, but Full Frontal Assault and All for One don't really have arenas. Deadlock is all arenas. Quest for Booty is 2 hours long, and it's basically a game to tie two much larger, much longer games together. Because something I've always loved about Tools of Destruction and a Kraken Time is their links. I don't think they're the perfect length for Ratchet and Clank game. I think Rift Apart hits that perfectly, because it took me 12 hours, not even including me doing, that actually does include it to a point, because it's actually 11 hours of footage I originally had, but I cut down a little bit of it already. So it's not going to be a total of 11 hours of video, but I basically had 11 hours of video for this game. And on top of that, I did all the extra arena challenges outside of video, which took me an extra maybe 2 or 3 hours. So this game took me 14 hours. 11 for the story, 14 for the extra content, like the arenas, the gold bolts, all that. To be fair, I went back and got the gold bolts and extra armor things after I got the map, the map to find that stuff. But still, you get my point. I got the Map-O-Matic, I think it's called. before going back to get that stuff, which is why it only took me like 3 hours, maybe 4, to get all of that and the no, I think it was more like 4, because I think it took me an hour and a half to get the armor pieces and the gold bolts, and it took me like 2.5 hours to get all the extra arena things. I don't know the time for it all exactly. I just know it took a while. I did it in one day. I did all that in one day before I went to face the final boss. I think it was before. It was either before I went to face the final boss or it was after. Like I went back and post and got them all. I don't remember which one it was. I think, no, it was before the final boss because I remember in my new game plus, or not new, is it new game plus? I don't remember. In challenge mode. In challenge mode,
Perhaps we can reset the log.
I already have all the gold bolts and stuff. So yeah, I definitely did do that before the final boss. Because I created the challenge mode off of my final boss save. And the only way to go back into that save is to like teleport back before the final boss, which is fine by me, honestly. That's kind of how Ratchet and Clank games have worked for years. For the most part, a crack in time doesn't really do that, actually. For a crack in time, you beat the final boss. You just kind of like, or I think you're teleported back out into space. I don't remember what happens, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't like teleport you back to before the final boss, because there is like a post-final boss to go face, which is the second fight against Lord Warslaw, which is a weak-ass villain that a lot of people hate for some reason. I just find him boring. I don't really hate him. But yeah, Lord Warslaw is like the only bad thing about, or the only negative thing about a crack in time, in my opinion. The Crack in Time also has the Constructo weapons, which is something I kind of wish they didn't drop after one game. I get why they did, because they weren't fantastic, but they could have like tweaked them for a later game, you know? It would have been cool if they brought them back for Into the Nexus or even Rift Apart, you know? Would have been cool. We're back fighting Goons for Less, and it still like lingers in my head that they were originally called Thugs for Less. They appeared in Secret Agent Clank. I didn't know that. I didn't play Secret Agent Clank. And they appeared in Into the Nexus. I was right. In Into the Nexus, the Thugs for Less attacked the Nebula 7 and freed Vengeance Frog. Okay, yeah, I was right. They're the main faction in Into the Nexus. That's what I remember them from. But I've also seen Let's Plays of going Commando, and I remember them working for a character in that game too. A character I'm not gonna say the name of, because she's a character that's basically been retconned and unretconned, and then still feels retconned after the fact. But I don't really care for the I don't care about the retcon, because honestly I've never cared about her character too much. And it's not because I've never played the game. I've seen Let's Plays of it multiple times, but like, compared to the other Lombaxes you meet, she's just not that, it's not that interesting to me. But anyway, I actually need to mention the song of the day before the video ends. So today's song of the day is Bipolar by Chris Calico. I got an upside down smile and I gotta wipe my frown, dry my eyes. Yeah, this is how it is when you're older. Wake up and you're bipolar and upside down, smiling. I gotta wipe my frown, dry my eyes. Yeah, this is how it is when you're older. Wake up and you're bipolar. It's actually a song about a serious topic. My favorite songs by Chris Calico are typically ones of serious, sometimes depressing topics, and that one's definitely got like a depressing feel to it lyrically, but it's a good song. I definitely recommend it. But yeah, I am going to, or no, we're not quite there yet. Waiting on the platform to get there, waiting and yeah. But yeah, I am going to end off the video here. So bye.
Game over.